Quickly move forward. October 2020 marked the month of awakening for many young Nigerians who took to the streets to oppose police brutality. The protests later metamorphosed into a struggle for justice and an end to corruption, bad governance, and many other societal ills. 1 year after, the issues that led to the Endsars protests have not all been resolved, and Nigerians are still yearning for the change they want to see in the country. Some advocates are calling on Nigerians to once again come out in their numbers to mark the first year anniversary of the October 2020 protest, while also demanding for justice and a better society. Now, this is against warnings from the police discouraging people from engaging in any form of protest. Joining me to discuss this is Titilokbe Akosa, Executive Director, Center for 21st Century Issues. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
It's been 1 year since the protest, or it's going to be 1 year. Today's 19th, so tomorrow it will be 1 year. But the memory is still very much present with a lot of persons, and even we, TVC, because if you look at the other end, you see our building burnt down. But the issues that led to what we saw is after 1 year, a lot of persons are asking what has changed, what has improved. Has justice been done and seen to be done? Lagos State Probe Panel has ended its seating, and according to reports, about 128.2 million naira was awarded to 24 petitioners in the last 1 year. And then the question beginning from there is, has justice been done by that panel and seen to be done from your point of view?
Yeah, from my point of view, I would say substantially the panel has really done well. And this is the reason why I said so. We know that after the aftermath of the Endsars, we had a lot of panels coming up across the country based on the decision that was taken by the federal. So Lagos State started its own panel. Other states also started their own panel. Today, it's only Lagos State that we can actually point to that has actually followed that process to a logical conclusion. And that's why you are able to let us know today that we have 24 people that have been compensated. See, what we have seen here now is that we have a state that is committed to doing justice. If they are not committed to doing justice, I tell you, they will set up that panel and they will not award compensation to those who came before the panel. It is those who bring forward their issues to the panel that the panel can compensate. If people sit back in their houses and they did not bring their cases to the panel, there's nothing the panel can do about that. So for those who have come to the panel, at least they've been able to give them some money. Of course, we know that that money is not enough to compensate for the terrible things they've gone through. But at least in a way, it makes people happy, a bit comfortable, and then have confidence in the system that going forward, that the government might even do better than what it is doing now. That's the way I see it.
All right. Now, there are those who say that perhaps one aspect that the panel should have looked into critically and perhaps not just gloss over was the aspect of the involvement of the military. Because we know the back and forth that happened with regards to that. A lot of persons are saying the panel shouldn't have wrapped up its proceedings without critically coming up with what happened, the involvement of the military, perhaps bringing some persons to justice. Or to book.
You understand that justice is just not one-way traffic. It is, we must listen to the sides, the right side and the left side. We have the complainants and those who are at, the defense, who are supposed to defend. So if during the panel, I wouldn't even say if now, during the panel, we knew that they opened up discussions around those issues. But at a particular point in time, the military refused to come back to the table. And there's no way you can reach a conclusion when the military that is being indicted is not all the time on the table to also explain their own involvement.
So should we leave it at that?
We will not leave it at that, but the panel, it also depends on the terms of reference for the panel. If it's part of the terms of reference for the panel, I'm sure the panel, of course, will come out with a definitive statement on that. And I know that during the panel, at least the very few of it that I watched, because I was monitoring it, yes. I knew that there was a time the military personnel came, yes, and they gave yes. some important information, evidence, and things like that. But that was not enough to reach a very important conclusion, because reaching a conclusion on this matter is very important. Right. And you cannot try to reach a conclusion where you did not hear all the parties involved. And that's very important.
So how can those who are commemorating this, the hashtag Endsars gain closure when we haven't had some conclusion in certain aspects and matters where we see some states, some panels still not meeting up with what it is that has to be done?
Let's tell ourselves the truth. Some of the panels are moribund in some of the states.
Right.
We can't just deceive ourselves. It means that the government of those states are not committed to seeing those processes to a logical conclusion. So I think that the young people who started the Endsars protest really need to sit down right now and look at what has gone wrong. Where did they miss it? Where did they lose focus? It's very important, because when the narrative, we start talking about what happened during Endsars, people put all sorts of narrative into it. But a lot of us who are watching by the sides and looking at it, and as an activist, I've been involved in so many activism in this country, and for me the Endsars activism was a different brand for me. So I was like, what is happening? What are they trying to do? And knowing that when you are in activism like that and you are focused on a particular struggle, we have our strategy lined up. We know where we are going. We know where we are coming from. At a particular point in time, I found out that it's like the young people don't even know where they are going. And one of the reasons why I came to that conclusion was because after first day, second day, and third day, and then they came up with a 5 for 5, if I'm correct. Yes. And then all of a sudden, after 5 for 5, we saw that 5 for 5 became, yeah, we've got 4 out of 5. And then they didn't know how to retreat and re-strategize. Then they lost it.
That was the point they lost it.
At that point, I'm telling you, they lost it.
How could they have cashed in on that point?
Yeah, see, in Lagos, let me take Lagos as an example for you. In this Lagos, if you start activism for 2-3 days non-stop, by the 4th day, hoodlums will join you and they'll control the narrative for you. And I'm sure these young people don't want the hoodlums to control the narrative, but unfortunately, they allowed them to control the narrative for them.
Really?
And yes, and that is where we find ourselves, where we are today. The whole of Lagos was burnt down. Nobody wanted Lagos to be burnt down. This is our city. We own it.
Right.
And if we own a city, then we must protect it.
Absolutely.
So, young people are not homogeneous. Let us face the fact. We have tall young people, we have short young people, we have Yahoo young people, we have tout young people, we have area boys young people, we have good young people, we have serious-minded and responsible young people. And it's a mixed multitude. And let me tell you, their intentions can never always be the same. I will tell you my own experience during the Endsars. We found out that some of these Yahoo boys, we are funding the Endsars heavily. And you know what that means?
Do we have that evidence?
See,
because we have to say
a lot of things you may not see openly, but we saw the way the movement was going. Honestly, the noble intentions of Endsars was destroyed by these hoodlums. No doubt about it. And if the young people are saying we are celebrating, please, they have a right to celebrate. They have a right to own the success, at least the sum of the successes that they recorded during that period. We have to tell ourselves the truth.
Right.
They actually recorded successes when they started, when they were moving. Then the truth of the matter is that at a point in time when you know that if you are not careful, what you are doing can lead to destruction, then you withdraw, re-strategize, and then go back again.
Because there was no arrowhead in terms of a leader driving the move that we saw what we saw happen?
I think it could be part of it.
It could be.
It could be.
Or what were the other factors?
The other factors were that they allowed people to come in to control the narrative for them.
How could they have stopped them?
Yes, they could have stopped them if they have taken a small retreat, sit down and re-strategize. And then that would have cooled down the whole tempers for some time before then they come back again. And the truth of the matter is that the way that they were going, see, economic activities were being scattered in the states. There are a lot of things that went to a standstill in the state. Let me tell you, all over the world, I'm an activist. I've done activism on the streets of Germany. I've done on the street of Morocco. I have done on the street of South Africa. And when we are going on activism, what we do is that we plan ourselves, we plan our route. And then the government gives us the route to take, and we move. And we have days on which we do those activism. After those days, we go back and issue our demands. And then we start talking to the authority to respond to our demands. That happened at the beginning of Endsars. Government was responding. Let me take the issue of Lagos State. That is where I was at that time. So I don't know what happened in other states. The governor was responding. At a point in time when governor was speaking, somebody was abusing him. Okay, the man still took it. Okay, I will take your issues to the federal government. He took it down to the federal government. He came back and gave them a feedback. We are still on this matter. Can we go home and sit down so that we don't disrupt economic activities? Can we go on the table and discuss? Let me tell you, all over the world, even if there is war, you will still come back to the table to discuss. So why are we avoiding the table? Yes, young people said, no, they are liars. They've been promising. See, even if they are liars, even if they have not done what they said they would do, you will still sit down at the table and discuss. And that is where they missed it. When they called them to the table, they refused. Every attempt, in fact, at a particular point in time, I remember there was a particular Sunday, everybody came out, even the religious people, everybody supported them to tell you that well-meaning Nigerians support these young people. Immediately after that Sunday, I saw some of these leaders calling them to order. Please, can we sit down and talk? They are calling you, discuss with them. There was nothing these leaders didn't say. They refused. At that point, honestly, I felt so bad. Because I know that this same government that we fight every day, when we go outside the country and go and demand for bigger things at the international scene, is this government people we see, and they tell us to lobby them. You see the irony of it all. Even all of them that were quoting UN, the same UN they will go to, they will meet government there, and they will lobby government to get their issues implemented, to get their issues taken on board. So why do we fight as if we were not reconciled?
Perhaps that lessons might have been learned.
Yeah, I hope so.
Want to believe that lesson might have been learned. But one key issue that led to that protest was the aspect of police brutality. Yes. 1 year on, can you say that anything has improved with regards to that?
I can't say anything categorically because we know that it is not a 100 meters dash. It's a process thing. This thing has been happening for years. Even all over the world, police brutality is well known. And whatever we are doing, what is most important is that we have started addressing it. But we cannot achieve it in 1 year. If we say we have moved from one place to another, I can tell you categorically it's not true. But what I can say is that government has been now trying to engage the police. For instance, what Lagos State is doing during this month is that they are having a dialogue with young people and the police. That is a good way to go.
But Lagos is 1 out of 36
Yeah,
states.
we can't force it on other states. We know people voted for different people in different states. Lagos don't have power over other states. Lagos can only do what it has told its people that it will do. The present government said, this is what I will do, and they are pursuing it. Others says they will do this, and they are not pursuing it. It is left for people in those states to rise up. And that's one strange thing about this Endsars thing. A state is working. Pursue it logically, engage them. I thought that the young people, they gained a kind of momentum. And that momentum should have continued, especially with engaging the political process. If you really want meaningful change, young people should engage the political process, because activism will not remove government. You will still have to go and vote. How many young people are now engaged in the political process? How many of them have joined political parties or have set up their own political parties to tackle the major political parties that are ruling us now? Yes, they say APC is not good, PDP is not good. What alternatives do you have for the people to follow? Is it Endsars? Endsars is not a political party. It's just a movement. Movements don't run political parties. Parties must be formed. People will be part of that party, and people will vote for people to come out under that platform to contest election.
Right.
And we want young people to do that. I'm sure Nigerians will support young people that go into that election. And
this is an opportunity already.
They opened up the opportunity for themselves. And somehow, if they're not careful, they will lose it.
Why do you think so?
Because if you don't engage the process, how can you stand for election?
Right. Well, let's leave the conversation here now, because that would be a fine place to leave it. I hope that a lot of young persons are listening, that activism does not change government.
Activism, well, I didn't say that categorically. Let's get it clear.
Right, that was what you said.
Activism can help us to get to that level of change. But when it comes to being in government and governance, activism has its limitations.
Right,
That's what I'm saying. Activism, if you carry activism and say you want to use it to win an election, perhaps it can help you. That is, if you enter into a political party and you offer yourself and you are on that platform to be voted for.
Absolutely. Titi Lokba Akosa, Executive Director, Center for 21st Century Issues. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.